All right, let's talk about Pi Network. You've probably heard the name, right? There is so much chatter, so much speculation flying around. It can be really tough to know what's real and what's just, well, noise. So today, we're going to cut through all that. We're going to separate the cold hard facts from the fiction and figure out what's actually happening with this project. And really, this is the one question that seems to be driving all the excitement right now. People are asking, is Pi Network really on the verge of being officially recognized by the global banking system? The rumor is all about this thing called ISO 2022 compliance. I mean, that would be a massive deal, right? It's a huge claim, so you know what we have to do. Let's break it all down. Okay, so first things first. Before we can even touch the rumor, we've got to understand what we're actually talking about. So what is this ISO 2022 standard anyway, and why does everyone in finance seem to think it's such a big deal? Okay, the easiest way to think about it is like this. It's basically a universal language for banks. A global messaging standard that lets all these different financial institutions talk to each other without getting their wires crossed. We're talking payments, securities, literally any kind of transaction. The whole point is to make the global financial system way more efficient and get everyone on the same page. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Take a look at that date, November 22nd, 2025. That date is 100% real. It's a confirmed, hard deadline. But, and you got to pay attention here because this is the most important part, it's the final deadline for traditional banks to switch over to this new system. So that brings us right back to the million-dollar question. What, if anything, does this have to do with Pi Network? Okay, to really answer that properly, we need to build a foundation of facts first. So let's just put the rumors on a shelf for a second. We're going to look at what is verifiably true, the stuff that has been officially announced and confirmed by the Pi core team themselves. No speculation, just the facts. First up, let's talk about the people, the users. We have official confirmation that over 3.36 million pioneers, that's what the community calls them, have successfully passed the full KYC process. And if you're not familiar, KYC stands for Know Your Customer. It's that verification step. And honestly, it is absolutely crucial for building a network that's both legit and secure. And that number gets even more impressive when you look at this. Building on those KYC'd users, we now know that over 10 million of them have migrated over to the mainnet. So what's the mainnet? Think of it as the live, public version of the blockchain. This is where the magic happens. Real transactions, building apps. It's a huge milestone. And you can see here, this isn't just about numbers of users. The project is actively being built. I mean, look at this. On the tech side, the App Studio is getting upgrades with AI tools, and they're testing a decentralized exchange, a DEX, on their testnet. For the community, you've got live staking functions for governance, and these community marketplaces are popping up in over 30 countries. But maybe the most important thing here? Real-world adoption. We're talking actual merchants in places like China, Nigeria, and Vietnam who are starting to accept Pi for goods and services. This is tangible, verifiable progress. Okay, so we've got our foundation of facts locked in. We know what's real. Now, let's flip the coin over and look at the other side. It's time to tackle the unverified claims and the outright speculation that's been fueling so much of this hype. All right, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and tackle the big one head-on. The claim you see everywhere. Pi Network will be ISO 2022 compliant by that November 2025 deadline. So what's the reality? Well, there is zero official confirmation of this from the Pi core team. Nothing. Nada. And, maybe even more telling, Pi is simply not on the official list of compatible cryptocurrencies. That list has names you'd recognize, like XRP and Stellar, but Pi isn't on it. Okay, next up, let's talk about some specific projects you might have heard about. The claim is that things like PiBridge and PiPay are official projects straight from the core team. But this is, well, it's misleading. PiBridge is a real thing, for sure, but it's a third-party project built by the community. It is not an official Pi project. And as for PiPay, there's been no confirmation that it's an official pilot program either. And look, it's really important to know the difference, right? Official projects come with the full backing and security of the core developers. Third-party stuff, not so much. And this one's pretty straightforward. If you see specific dates floating around for the open mainnet launch, like Q1 2026, or for the public launch of the DEX in December 2025, just know that it is pure speculation. As of right now, there are simply no officially confirmed dates for any of these major milestones. So, we've separated fact from fiction. where does all of this leave Pi Network today? Let's zoom out for a second and do a quick reality check, a balanced look at where the project really stands right now. Well, the price chart definitely tells a story, and it's a pretty stark one. After peaking at an all-time high of around $3 back in February of 2025, the price has taken a massive hit. We're talking a drop of about 93% down to its current level of around 20 cents. To say it's been a volatile ride for anyone holding the token would be a huge understatement. And this table really sums up the current situation perfectly. It's this constant push and pull, right? On one side, you have some pretty serious challenges. You've got token inflation from unlocks, that crazy price volatility we just saw, and the potential for a lot of selling pressure. But on the other side, you have some incredibly powerful positive signals. I mean, a community of over 50 million people is huge. The tech is still being developed, that real-world utility is growing, and we're even seeing large withdrawals from exchanges, which could hint at growing demand. It's really that classic battle between the risks and the potential reward. Okay, so after all of that, what's next? What's the takeaway here? If you're a pioneer, or even just someone watching from the sidelines, how do you navigate all this hype and focus on what's actually going to matter for the future of the project? Well, the key takeaways are actually pretty simple and clear. Step 1, and this is probably the most important, only follow the official announcements from the Pi core team. Get your info straight from the source. Step 2, be skeptical. If you hear about some crazy new partnership or claim and it's not from an official channel, take it with a huge grain of salt. 3, focus on what you can actually see. Tangible progress. Look at the KYC numbers, the DEX launch when it happens, the growth of the app ecosystem. And finally, number 4, do not circle November 22nd, 2025 on your calendar, expecting some kind of magic moment for Pi. Remember, that deadline is for traditional banks, not for crypto projects. And really, this is what it all boils down to. The future success of Pi Network isn't going to be determined by some rumor about a banking standard. It's not about speculative claims. It's going to come down to the fundamentals, plain and simple. Can they create real, actual utility? Can they achieve widespread adoption? And can they keep communicating clearly and transparently with that massive community they've built? That's what matters. And so that really leaves us with the final big question, doesn't it? In an industry that is so often driven by pure hype, will Pi Network be one of the few projects that actually proves its long-term value through genuine, real-world utility? You know, that's the real test. That's all for this breakdown. Thanks for tuning in.